Do I want to change? No. My life just isn't working. Because of this frustration, I ended up in this situation. About gambling addiction and how to overcome it. An honest conversation about this topic that has become so common in our times, a subject on which everyone is speaking out. But I do not wish here to make a judgment about gambling, about so-called bets. Instead, I want to speak to you who at this moment find yourself struggling with this addiction, which has caused significant harm in your life, and who now feels trapped in a dilemma, because an addiction is not something easy to face. I would like to talk with you about this without criticism. Let us simply assess the situation and reflect together. And we will see how we can move beyond this, what light there is at the end of the tunnel. This happens and has happened in the lives of many people who have developed an addiction for a variety of reasons, arising from the circumstances they found themselves in. This conversation is meant to help you find your way out of this. So the first thing we feel regarding this issue of gambling is that rush of adrenaline from almost winning. Wow, it was so close, I almost won. And then we lose everything. This is more or less the very dynamic of gambling itself. You need to consider that a gambling house, a company that promotes games, did not create this to make you rich. It was created to enrich itself. This is the most obvious thing in the world. So there will be here and there a win or two, just enough to keep you hooked on the addiction. But the overall sum in the end is necessarily negative. I don't know of any exceptions. The overall sum in the end is loss, is defeat. And sometimes these are very significant losses, putting you in a difficult situation. And this has been happening more and more often. You are not alone, you know that. Addiction to betting today is much more common than it seems. It is everywhere, across all ages, in all social classes. It is clear that those in more limited financial situations are the ones who suffer the most. And sometimes they're the most affected because they allow themselves to be seduced by the hope of improving their social condition through an easy path. Easy paths, in general, are deceptive. Easy paths are always dubious and dangerous. We will see that true and secure growth always comes through strategy, planning, and hard work. When shortcuts are taken, it is usually complicated and delicate, and it is unlikely to succeed. And one path that will never work is the path of gambling, especially this path of betting, which is so fashionable today. How can we revive something so ancient that has harmed humanity throughout the centuries? How can we return to that same situation? At what point did we conclude that we could reintroduce this into society without causing further harm? We will not dwell on this point, but it was a mistake, regardless of who made the decision or assessed the situation. It was a mistake. Human beings are still, as they have always been, very vulnerable to this kind of manipulation through games, highly susceptible to addiction. It is very common for this to happen, and it has always happened throughout history. Addiction to gambling is a behavioral addiction. It is a kind of pleasure, an emotional escape, and a hope for easy gain. Many times, life is frustrating. Often, in your daily routine, you do not find hope for overcoming a limited economic situation. Frequently, you feel discouraged, downcast, believing that life has no solution, that you will not be able to improve your own conditions or those of your family. And from this discouragement, when an opportunist appears with an easy promise, it is very tempting and well received. I don't know if it seizes upon a crack in human frustration and penetrates deeply through it, because it comes in offering exactly what the person wishes to find, a magical solution to their frustrating life. But we live in a world where magic does not exist. There is cause and consequence. And any rabbit that comes out of a hat must have been put into that hat first. So this idea that there will be a miraculous solution that will get you out of this financial situation is nothing more than opportunism, an attempt to take advantage of your anxiety and turn it into profit for others, not for yourself. So, pleasure, which is sometimes very scarce, a life that is heavily burdened by work, becomes somewhat tedious, a bit routine, and then an emotional escape, a way to feel important, valued. Look, I know how to play, I am winning. In other words, a multitude of your own frustrations, frustrations you must recognize and learn to work with. Because if we do not know our own vulnerabilities, they will be exploited by others. We must come to know our weaknesses and learn how to work with them. How will I overcome my lack of self-esteem, my emotional frustration, my sense of monotony, my lack of motivation for life, and my feeling that my financial situation has no way out? How will I work with these issues in a realistic way? Because if I do not address them, I leave myself exposed and vulnerable so that others may come and use me, exploit me, and make my situation not better, but even worse than it was at the beginning. And these losses generate even more feelings of guilt, more feelings of worthlessness. In other words, they only worsen the initial situation. Betting sites always operate in the same way. They use small rewards, that is, early wins, and a whole strategy to make you feel very special. Notifications, that is, constantly sending you messages on your phone, urging you to come back, offering new games, always trying to get your attention, never letting you forget. And the so-called illusion of control. The illusion of control is when you have the impression that you know how to play. No, I know how to handle this. I lost this time. It was just bad luck, but I know what I'm doing. The game itself gives you the impression that you are a pro, that you know what you're doing, that you just had some bad luck this time, but at some point you will win. But this is an illusion because no one has control within the system. No one is truly in control. And it is a scheme that is sometimes so complex that it even interferes with the sports themselves. Sports are manipulated to produce the outcomes that these people desire. In other words, it is a very complicated and difficult scheme. And I do not advise a man of integrity like you to get involved in something like this, because it certainly will not end well. So do not fall for the illusion of control. You do not master a game that was designed to exploit you, not to enrich you. Do not believe in that. That is a childish form of self-assertion, which will only make your situation worse. The signs that you're getting involved in this game: spending more than you can afford, lying, beginning to hide from others what you are doing, experiencing anxiety, feeling compelled to return in hopes of recovering what you have lost, always believing that today will be your lucky day, living in constant anxiety about it, and increasingly isolating yourself. I increasingly feel that people will not understand me, that I cannot share this with anyone, that the situation has become so dire that if people find out, everyone will turn their backs on me. You begin to isolate yourself, and as you do, you become even more vulnerable to the seductive traps of the game. If from the very beginning you shared this situation with people you love, with people you trust, that person could help you turn back halfway down the road. But the isolation that guilt creates only makes you more vulnerable, only throws you further into the arms of this scheme that increasingly feels irreversible. And there is always that lie we tell ourselves, yet we do not believe it to be a lie. And there's that story. The next bet will change my life. It's just a little more, I just need to persist a bit longer. The next bet will be the decisive one. And it won't be. You need to understand that in a scheme like this, the probability of achieving the success you imagine, if we speak statistically, is lower than the probability of being struck by lightning in the middle of the street. That doesn't happen, and it won't happen. And this lie that you keep telling yourself will keep you trapped in this until ruin. Be careful. Look in the mirror and say, there is no next time where I will be victorious. There is only a next time where I will be even more in debt, where my losses will be even greater, and where I will feel even more ashamed to stand before my family and explain what is happening. The tendency we have observed in all the people involved in this is a tendency to go downhill, not uphill. We are witnessing a huge group of people going downhill, not climbing up. No one is doing well in the way you imagine. People are experiencing ever greater losses, increasingly delicate situations, and sometimes even tragic outcomes. So be careful with this. 95% of people lose in the long run. 95%. Do you know what that means? Almost everyone. What you are truly seeking can be found outside of this. You can achieve gains in another way by seeking other solutions for your life. You can find satisfaction and joy in other things, in sports, in a practice, in gathering with friends, in improving your family relationships. You can find a greater meaning in life than simply trying to show others that you are a winner, that you are clever, that you know how to make money, which is a falsehood, because that will not happen. And you can be recognized for who you are, not for what you have gained. So there are other ways, you might say, but they are very difficult. All people, ask those in society who have built their own economic lives, who today have a reasonable and stable life. They did not build it on the basis of winning games. They built it on the foundation of organization, intelligence, and hard work. That is how everyone has built their legacy. By organizing, thinking about their future with intelligence, with imagination, and with work. By continually striving to improve themselves. Well, the first important thing to do is to recognize and accept it. It is not a weakness. It is an addiction. It's not, I am weak, I am this. No, you are addicted. It could be a cigarette, it could be a drug. Gambling is just as addictive as those things. It is an addiction. And with addiction, you must face it, acknowledge it, and say, I am addicted. Once you acknowledge it, begin working to correct it. Do not waste time on guilt. Work towards overcoming it. Oh, poor me. Look, I have spent the family savings. I am in this situation. Look at what I have done. No, that's enough. It already happened. It already happened. What was lost is lost. You are not going to recover it there. You can give up. You will only lose more. Therefore, stop now. Stop now and begin to sort out your life. Find a way to pay your debts, a way to reorganize based on what you still have, and a way to start rebuilding from this moment onward. This is the only chance you have. Day by day, 1 day, 2 days, your problem will only grow. So recognize it and begin to work to stop this harmful cycle from this moment onward. Do not be ashamed. Addictions happen. Many people have gone through addictions and have overcome them. And you can be one of them too. Cut off the triggers. Block all the websites, all the apps, all the notifications. Anything that sends you a message saying, come, look, now you're going to win. Block everything. There are even blocking apps nowadays that help protect you from this. Block everything. Remove any contact between these gambling structures and yourself. Completely cut off contact. And then we will begin to rebuild life. And another important thing, seek support. Friends, family. Today there are even groups, just like Alcoholics Anonymous, there are Gamblers Anonymous, where people help each other overcome addiction. Some are online, some are in person, people who support each other in overcoming this addiction, who root for one another, who help to space out these episodes, who help to distance themselves from temptation. Go towards those who truly care about you, love you, and want to help you. Be open, don't keep hiding. What has already happened will need to be shared with everyone, and everyone will have to roll up their sleeves to help you get out of this situation. The people who love you will have to do this. There's no point in questioning what's already happened. It's important that you break this cycle right now. Break free from this Batiste addiction right now. Replace this habit with something else. Introduce something new, like exercise. Start walking, go play with friends, do something along those lines. If you enjoy reading, go read a book. Invest more in life with your family and friends. Nurture a richer social life. Seek out learning experiences that help you grow. This is a truly mature path to begin having better opportunities in my professional and financial life. For example, I need to develop myself as a professional. So on those weekends when I find myself with nothing much to do, I am there without much to do. I will go to the workshop of that friend who is a carpenter, who is a locksmith, who has a mechanic shop. I start to learn something new. The more I learn, not only is it excellent for mental hygiene and enjoyable, but it also helps me become a professional with greater chances of acquiring resources, a professional with more alternatives. The more you develop your skills, the greater your chances of finding your place in the light, a better place in the market, a better place in society. In other words, seek out activities that are honest, transparent, and truly pathways to help you move beyond your current situation, and not paths that deceive you or drag you down even further. Set realistic financial goals. From this moment on, plan how you will pay off your debts. Your debts. How you will pay off your debts, how you will resolve your financial life as it stands now. At a certain point, if possible, I will start saving a little money to fulfill a dream or to invest in my own development, perhaps through study, a course, or something that will professionalize me. That is, work with great seriousness and organization in your financial affairs. First and foremost, to get out of the situation you are currently in. Depending on how much you have lost, you may already be in a complex situation that will require a great deal of effort to overcome. So, first of all, plan your way out of the crisis. After you have planned to overcome the crisis, begin to plan, if possible, and as much as possible, to save a little so you can take a professional course or receive some form of instruction. Something that will truly help you in a real, mature, and clear-sighted way to achieve genuine financial growth in your life. Always remember, you were born to have peace, not to live in a cycle of guilt and loss. More guilt, more loss, more guilt, more loss. This is a living hell on earth. You were not born to be in that place. Every addiction is a hell on earth, and it turns you into a slave. A person who is addicted is a slave. They are not the master of their own will. They do not control the direction they will give to their life. You were not born to be a slave. You were born to be a free person, to have peace, to be fulfilled, to bring peace and happiness to yourself and to those you love. Therefore, do not accept being reduced to so little, to being a doormat for a system designed solely to exploit. It is clear that when this was conceived, it was meant for many people to lose, and for a select few, those who created it, to profit. That is why it is such a profitable business. Why is a bet such a good business? Because those who create the game earn a great deal. And where does the money that this person earns come from? From the many who lose, and you are one of them. You are on the side of the losers. Therefore, get out of there and do it quickly, faster than you can, right at this very moment. It is possible to leave. Thousands have already succeeded. Millions throughout history have freed themselves from very difficult addictions. You can do it. It is a matter of discipline, a matter of strategy, a matter of not isolating yourself, not being alone, seeking the help of those you love, of those who love you, of those who want the best for you. Do not allow yourself to remain isolated. Be open, share a problem with these people, ask for help, and begin your journey out of the pit. Now, in this moment, bet on yourself. Take the first step today. Believe in yourself. You are a person who is capable. You are someone who can build a path of continuous growth. You truly can solve the problems in your life in an intelligent way. You have the intelligence for this. You have the wisdom for this. Solve the problems in your life by following the real path, not one of fantasy. There are support resources available. We all know that society offers certain things, such as the CVV, for example. Sometimes People go through dramatic situations due to immense losses, which can even lead to thoughts of self-destruction. So you have the CVV helpline at 188, which can assist you in critical moments. You have support groups, as I mentioned before, such as Gamblers Anonymous, both in person and online. There are also blocking apps that you can install on your phone, and they monitor to ensure that messages from these betting platforms do not reach you in any way. Apps like Freedom, Cold Turkey, in other words, applications that can help protect you from these temptations, especially in the early stages when you are still more vulnerable. Because the sheer number of temptations that are generated is no joke. A checklist of healthy habits. Keep yourself occupied. Do not leave empty periods where you might stop, overthink, and become susceptible to the temptation of going back. So, do not leave empty spaces. If I have a little free time, I will go for a walk. If I have a little free time, I will read a book. I will do something. I will learn something new. Do not leave empty periods so that you do not fall into temptation and regress, especially in these initial moments. Occupy your time in a healthy way. Life can be stimulating and meaningful. Learn to value what and who you have. I have nothing, so I had to turn to something. Look, do not undervalue what you have like that. If you have a family, you have a great deal. If you have a partner, you have a great deal. If you have children, you have even more. Consider that there are people who are truly in a much worse situation than yours. Learn to value the things you have before you risk losing them. Read and remember people who have much less and yet still fight for life. And do not give yours up so easily. There are people right now who are battling very serious illnesses, terminal diseases, and they're fighting for their own lives. Sometimes subjected to enormous emotional pressure, exposed to great risk, they are there fighting, striving, trying everything, not wanting to lose their family, not wanting to lose their life. These people never stop believing that life has value. You, who have far more chances, are giving yours up so easily. There are many people in dramatic situations, fighting for their lives, and you are abandoning yours in this situation. Even though you are healthy, you can start over. You can get out of there and begin again. Therefore, do not give up your life so easily. Life holds great value. If you want change, set real goals and work toward them with perseverance and consistency. Do I want to change? No. My life just isn't working. Because of this frustration, I ended up in this situation. Let's plan with perseverance and consistency. I want to become a professional. I want to get a better job. I want to pay off my debts. Make plans to take your life to the point where you want to be. Do not think, oh, the way I am, there is no way out. There is. You are alive, you are healthy. There is always a way. There are people who have managed to build a very good life economically, starting from situations of utter devastation. With imagination, with hope, and by believing in oneself, it is possible to resolve all these issues and start anew. In other words, have a clear goal of what your dreams are, what you want to build, and work seriously toward that with perseverance and consistency, without haste and without pause. Take life seriously, plan, and see clearly where you truly want to go. It is not just about you. Always remember that. It is about all those who love you. They are all involved. Without you having consulted them, all those who love you are involved in this journey together with you. They will suffer with you. They will go to the depths with you. And they were not even consulted. These people, if you cannot think of yourself, think of them. Act out of love. If you are feeling very weakened, love is capable of channeling an extraordinary determination and willpower. And it is not just about those whom you love. Stop now, get out of this situation. You do not have to work so that companies become rich. You have to work so that your family May have harmony and be happy. It is with them that you are truly committed. Break this morbid cycle right now. Fight out of love. Spare your life and the lives of those who love you. In other words, reflect on all these things and understand you cannot say, I will stop in just a little while. This just a little while along the way causes you to lose even more. You fall even further. If you are lucid enough to make changes now, the time is now. You still have the strength to get out now. The moment is now. Do not let the situation deepen any further, because if you go lower, you may no longer have the breath or even the physical and mental health to climb out of the hole you have dug. Therefore, react, take responsibility for the problem, acknowledge that you were naive, that you allowed yourself to become addicted. Many times throughout history, this has been done to human beings. Well, now it was your turn. You were naive. You let yourself become addicted. I will break this morbid cycle right now. If not for any other reason, let it be for love, for the most precious thing we have in our lives. Love your own life. Love the lives of those around you who are rooting for you. And I am rooting for you. A big embrace.